Hello everyone, this is the second part of my Introduction to Lightroom tutorial mini-series, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so let's get started. Last time we edited this picture, I introduced you guys to all the different basic things here and kind of showed you how they work, what they do, and all that stuff. So now I'm going to show you how you can use this to edit batches of photos through presets and other things like that. So, for example, right, we have a lot of similar photos here, like this one, I'm actually going to reset these just because they already have edits on them. You can also see if a photo's been edited here, if you hover over it, it'll say it has been adjusted. So that's just a little thing to notice, and you can also hover over this and it'll just, there's little icons to help you out when identifying photos and things like that. Oops, pressed the wrong button. So now that I've reset all these pictures, I really like how this one came out. So I'm gonna I kind of want to have the same look for all my other photos. So what you can go and do over here is you go and press copy. You can copy actually all of these settings here, and you can choose which settings to copy if you don't want to copy some of them and all that stuff. So usually you don't want to copy lens transformations or any other things because there's going to be, those are things that are more specific to individual images, but we're going to copy our well, we'll turn that off too, but we're going to copy all these other settings. So press copy, and you can either use the arrow keys and choose an image you want it on and press paste. Like, wow, look at that. Well, you can go around and do that for all your images individually or just on the ones you want, or you can actually, right here, I'm gonna go to the end, and if you hold shift and click the first one, you can actually select all your images, or if you want to just select none and then here and then hold a control, you can select multiple that way, but if you just hold shift, it selects them all like that. So then we're just going to go and press paste, and look at that. So now we've got some really nice images of Piermont here. So this one I really like. It looks really good. However, I feel like it's a little bit too dark in the bottom half here, so I kind of want to bring a little bit more attention to these buildings and stuff down here. So there's a couple things we can do, see if we can make it look nice. So here we're gonna bring the shadows up just a tad. That already looks pretty good, and maybe I'll keep it like that, but for example, if we weren't doing that, right, I'm gonna just undo the shadows there. There are these things up here you can do. I forgot to kind of introduce you guys to this top bar last time, so I'll just go through that real quick. So here you've also, most things you hover over and it has the keybind next to them that you can press. So you can either click this, or you could just press R and it's going to go into that for you. So this is the crop overlay. Pretty self-explanatory, just for cropping your image if you want something out of it or it's not centered right or something like that. You can do it that way. Next we've got spot removal. This is more of a, it's kind of like a little weird. Generally this is more of a complex thing, so I'm not really going to be getting into this. But I'm just gonna undo that and undo that again. Okay. So here we've got red eye correction. If you've got pictures of people that have red eyes or anything like that, that's what you're going to be using that for. So next, you've got graduated filter. This is something you're going to be using a lot along with the radial filter and adjustment brush. So our graduated filter, if you press M or click on it, what this is it's a gradual line. You can adjust the size, rotate it, all that cool stuff. So let's say we wanted to bring down here in a little bit more. We're gonna kind of just rotate that there. You can do the size there, but the way this works is it essentially is like another layer in your what should I call it, it's another layer in your like photo, I guess. If you hover over, you can see how it works. But in this layer, you can kind of adjust different settings, and you know, the other under this is still the original adjustments and everything. But if you want to make additional adjustments, like for us, we wanted to bring up the you know, bring the foreground into play a little bit more, so we can kind of just bring up the exposure there. You know, adjust that how we want to. I'm actually gonna put the exposure down to just 0.5 there, but we're gonna go and bring the shadows up a little bit so it kind of gradually fades in. And there we go. And if we look at our original, look at that. That's pretty good to go. So now if we wanted to, which image is it here? I gotta deselect these guys. Okay. So, you know, once you press done, it's done, or you can press this again and it'll show up as a little dot. You just press it and then you can go back and edit all that stuff. So, let's say, you know, just for example's sake, right? Let's say I want to have the bridge be like another focus point, right? You can go and press the radial filter, and it works the same way as the graduated filter, but it's round. You can adjust the size and all that stuff. And we're gonna just invert so I'll get into that in a second, but here you see it's adjusting things outside of the circle initially, but if you press invert, it adjusts whatever's inside the circle. So here we're gonna just for example's sake bring up the exposure of the bridge, right? And you can adjust the feather, which is how much, like, I guess the effect fades. I'm gonna put like a 69 on that, and you know, that's gonna be that, and you can see bridge is much brighter. Now we're gonna I'm just gonna delete this. If you click it and then press delete, it's deleted, and then you're done. That's kind of how that works. Very, very basic stuff. So now let's say, oh, you know what? I have to do it on this image too, because here the background is a little bit, you know, or sorry, the foreground is a little bit drowned out. So we're gonna go in here, copy, and we're going to copy everything. By default, these things are not selected, but we're gonna actually select the graduated filter because we want to copy that one, since the images are the same angle and everything. Instead of, you know, having to go and make it again, we can just paste, and there we go. And then we can kind of go in here and just adjust as needed, and there we go. We're done with that. So you go from a very flat, kind of boring image to a very colorful, sharp, great looking image very quickly. So it's very very useful to kind of, you know these things. And I'll quickly explain the adjustment brush. Let's say these aren't great for adjustment brush because they're drone shots, but let's say you know, I want to, for some reason, bring out the parking lot, and the parking lot's super interesting, right? You can kind of paint the parking lot in here, and if you can scroll to adjust the size as well. So I'll just paint in the parking lot there, and there we go. And it works the same as the other things. So you can kind of adjust the exposure or whatever, you know, whatever additional settings you want to do there. So if we go out now, look at that. And if you go back in, you can click here and you can add more if you want the same settings, or you can just, you know, add a different one over here with different settings. The same applies for all these things. You can do multiple, you know, graduated filters or radial filters. So that's pretty useful to know. And that's kind of all there really is to this this Lightroom tutorial, I guess. The rest is kind of up to you to just get used to it, and, you know, get used to all the different settings you can do. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one.